Hello everybody, I am the Traveler and welcome back to Fare Thee Well. The date is June 13th, 1987. We're about 20 years after the events of meeting the girl in the green dress. Although I imagine this isn't the last time we're going to see her. June in Maine is still June. I should be accustomed to walking on baking asphalt by now. I travel light, always have. The weight I carry has nothing to do with what's in my pack. Heavy thoughts are always with me, my memories constant companions on the road. So many roads, so many paths, so many years. So many lives, it seems. It feels like forever since I was last in Canada. I wonder if it will still feel the same, raw and wild and seemingly untouched. Something tells me it will always have that feel, no matter how much concrete and glass are poured and polished. I think that memories can be that way too. As the years pass, the details subtly shift, but the feel seems to stay the same. Then again, we can choose to let certain memories fade, if those memories will allow it, of course. I'm aware of my footfalls on the pavement, the undulating drone of the insects in the tall grass that parallels the road. I can feel the hot sun on my skin, a gentle harshness to the yellow light. The few clouds in the uniformly blue sky are static and wispy, as though painted onto a canvas. There is no breeze. To add energy to my experience, the leaves of the trees are still, like clouds. I am literally passing through long series of moments unbroken by motion, except for me. If I am the only thing moving, does that mean that the world is a canvas, and I am little more than a thought passing through? My mind soars across the tapestry of my experiences, touching down at an area of memory, then taking flight again in search of the next place of interest. The miles pass, the sounds and the sun and the grass and the trees blending into a nearly uniform background. It seems as though the only things truly moving are my thoughts. The sensation of that notion intrigues me, distracts me for a while, until a new sound breaks the spell forever. Time is only back on the clock, and it's ticking as the sound of a large diesel engine of an 18-wheeler. I am whipped out of my reverie, and the beautiful monotony of the road, finding myself jarringly present. The driver of the large red truck downshifts as he descends the slow grade, leveling off and closing the distance to me. Slowly, black plumes puffing briefly from the trimmed stacks behind the cab. Well, what the hell? Maybe he'll take a rider for a while. I turn and begin to walk backwards and stick my thumb in the air. A few short seconds pass and the driver begins downshifting again, the engine braking, indicating to me that I am about to replace the drone of insects and the heat of the sun with the rhythm of an engine and the chill of air conditioning. The truck passes me slowly, coming to a halt just a few yards later. The hiss of the air brakes and the solid rattling thrum of the engine waiting for me. I walk up to the door as the window smoothly slides down, and I step on the running board with a hand on the mirror brace to render a greeting to who will be my traveling companion for God knows how long. Morning, sir. Where are you headed? I feel genuinely friendly as the two of us engage in that age-old mutual summing up that travelers have always done, leading to a gut instinct about trust. It takes me a second for us both to decide. Levis, just south of Quebec City, running straight through Maine. He has an accent straight out of the American northern Midwest. I have no idea, I'm not even going to try. It looks to be about 50 years old. I cannot remember the last time I thought that was old. How about you? As far as you'll take me, if that's alright, sir. Hop in. Let's put some miles behind us then, buddy. I swing the heavy door wide and slide in, then set my pack at my feet before closing the window and belting myself in. I never thought about 18-wheelers having a new car smell, but this one did. It was obviously new to the road and very well maintained. Wow, this truck is beautiful. The trucker laughs and then pats the large center console lovingly. She's not even 3 months old. We're still getting used to each other. The trucker is wearing a gray t-shirt and jeans and a ball cap with an American flag on the front. He has 2 faded green tattoos, one on each arm. His hair is cut a little on the short side and hasn't shaved in a couple of days by the looks of it. I drove my last truck for almost 20 years, but she decided that she'd run a last mile, and it feels a little weird driving without her. The way the trucker spoke about his truck felt instantly familiar, and I found myself nodding in understanding. This new one, though, I think she and I are going to be together for the rest of my time on the road. So where do you call home? You're sitting in it. I've been living on the road and out of motels for years. Being gone so much was never a good fit for a home life. And besides, I have a bit of a wanderlust. I can relate. I bet you can. As far as you are from, well, anywhere. The trucker spoke while he smoothly shifted gears, the powerful truck pulling its load effortlessly, the vibrations of the huge engine absorbed by surprisingly comfortable seats. The AC felt rejuvenating too. Yeah, I've been traveling for most of my life. First in the army, then when I got home from the war, I just couldn't sit still. Been on the road ever since. I tend to stick around a place for a while myself, and then it just feels like it's time to go, I guess. Yep, I know what you mean, buddy. Once I got home from the war, I never really felt like I fit in too, no matter how much I wanted to. Didn't understand why, and figured I'd find what I was looking for on the road. Did you? To be honest, I'm not sure. But I did find happiness, and that's all. And that's what all the hippies were always talking about. So I guess at least I found something. I think there's a certain freedom to keep me moving. Plenty of time to think, that's for sure. I drive. When I feel like resting, I stop. As long as I stay on schedule, nobody pays me much mind. And that's just fine with me. As the trucker shared a bit of his life with me, I watched the coral cord of the CB radio set sway. Plenty of time to think. The trucker and I really do seem to have a lot in common. Sometimes I think that I've probably missed out on quite a bit of life though, to be honest. So, I mean I have a family, and I keep up with them well enough. So I sort of let them live more normal lives to me. If that makes any sense at all. I think it makes a lot of sense. I've tried the normal life a few times. I always end up back on the road in the end, waiting for the next stop. You ought to think about driving trucks. Seems like you're a good fit for it. Rather than walking all the time, that's for sure. I've never considered it, to be honest, but I see your point. I'm not sure if the pace would feel quite right though. Walking has such a familiar feel to it for me now. I'm not sure if I would like the change. Most people are creatures of habit. You can't deny that. In a way, being a drifter is a habit too. Can't disagree. I thought for me, it's as much a need as it is a habit. No matter how much I like a place, I just can't stay. Eventually, it's time to go, whether I like it or not. Some of us just aren't meant to put down deep roots, buddy. The deeper the roots, the harder it is to tear yourself away when it's time to leave. I imagine you're right about that. Our conversation falls off into a comfortable silence, the world outside passing by. My eyes move to the distance ahead, taking in the slow approach of forests and roadside meadows, and following the minor, gradual turns as the road makes its way northward. Looking out of the side window and focusing a little closer reveals how fast we're really going. The trees more of a blur, the details outside more elusive and difficult to focus on. It's about perspective, really. Looking forward into the future, things seem farther away, moving more slowly. You can take your time to consider it, to think about where you might be going. Look around at where you are in the moment. That feels much more fleeting. The pace is quicker. It can be difficult to fully notice all the details before things change. The past, however, is always there, frozen in memory. You have the rest of your life to think about it, reflect upon it. In my case, there's plenty of time to think about my past. Too much time, actually. I wish I had that luxury of living in the moment without the specter of the future always looming in the background. Always knowing that no matter what, I always have to leave. People living their lives so often seem to be able to appreciate things in the moment, so long as they slow down a bit, building memories at their natural pace. For them, there is a beginning and an end. The middle part is life. I like to take my time for once. Many people say they feel rushed. I feel the opposite. An inexorable expiration of each period of normal. They have a finite amount of life and can live normally within the time that they are given. Whereas I, with nothing but time, struggle. Perspective. It affects the way we live. The passing of time, I think, does too. No matter what happens, I always end up gradually losing sync with everyone around me. Relationships, friends, co-workers. Every time I find a good place, a good thing, the clock starts ticking. The longer I stay, the louder the ticking, and the more out of sync I become, and the deeper my roots could reach. Eventually, I must move on. I must rip myself out of that life, tearing others in the doing, and leave that normalcy behind forever, as well as the emotional wreckage shared with people who will never understand why. I know deep down inside that it is best to avoid making any meaningful connections because I will have to move on. And I hate myself for making anyone share that pain. They don't deserve it. But once in a while, a connection just happens. I wish I could just enjoy that simple human experience without the inevitability that shadows what should be something beautiful, something simple and warm. Always that damned shadow. Always. I'm almost lost in thought, traveling through time in my own head with an all too familiar name. A name that I have been desperately trying not to think about, demands that its presence be known. Emmeline. I speak it out loud, not realizing that the trucker might hear it over the sound of the engine. Huh? Emmeline, huh? Is she why you've been lost outside that window for the past hour? Jesus. His half smile is simultaneously knowing and why. I exhale an empty laugh. I wonder if he isn't right about that. The trucker lets the moment sit for a few seconds and then cocks an eyebrow. It's funny, as much as I loved my old truck, never gave her a name. Some truckers do. The sentimental ones, anyway. Wonder why I never named her. At first, I thought that he had dropped his interest in Emmeline's name and my contemplation. But as the trucker spoke, I realized that he wasn't He wasn't delving into his fellow traveler's life. He was sharing the journey. I was closer to that old truck than I was with anyone. I do admit that I had plenty of conversations with her, though. All the time, actually. She was a pretty good listener, that's for sure. But it's funny. In the war, my buddies and I stopped using first names. We came up with nicknames, things like that. It seemed at the time that we were all just close, you know? But I wonder if maybe it was something else. Maybe it was a way for us to not get too close after all. Makes me wonder, you know? I think on that for a minute. That girl in the green dress captivated me. She unassumingly commanded my attention. There was something about her that just drew me in, captivated me. But when I learned her name, it became personal, intensely personal. We shared a connection. And then I had to go. I had no choice. I cared too much for her to put her through what would have to come. What always has to come. I cared for her. It only took one night and a name. I think you may just be onto something there, sir. We both spent the next few hours in total silence, except for a brief stop to fuel, roadside coffee, and a bathroom break. Two travelers sharing a journey. It was a good day. The sun was beginning to show the age of the day. The trees were beginning to cast shadows over the road, and the road signs were beginning to reflect that golden sunlight so characteristic of long summer nights. Cedar 30 miles. Damn it. I shifted in my seat and watched the sign as it approached with increasing speed, my eyes following it as it passed by. Cedar, Maine. Now that's one of those towns that you'll miss if you blink too long. You look like you recognize it. I sigh, I nod. You know that coffee show is running through me. I think we'll try not to blink when we get to Cedar so I can enjoy the last civilized bathroom for hours. Cedar. Damn it. It takes no time at all to get there. Not enough time to think. Not enough time to talk myself out of the decision fighting to make its way to the surface of my mind. The truck comes to a gradual stop in a gravel pull-off. Heavy tires crunching, air brakes squealing, engine slowing to an idle, everything slowing down. The trucker sets the brake and cuts off the engine, a shudder through the big vehicle implying a little more than a brief stop. He lifts to door latch and half opens the door, one foot reaching for the running board. I'll be a little bit, so feel free to stretch your legs. There's a hint of something in his voice, almost a knowing tone. This guy really is intuitive for having spent so much time alone on the road. Goes with the territory, I suppose. I'll see you in a bit, buddy. There's a hint of a wry, crooked smile on the trucker's face. I am certain he knows that I am connected to Cedar, and that it is because of Emmeline. Or maybe not. The trucker's boots grind into the gravel as he heads off, leaving me to choose which fork in the road to take. I woke up this morning expecting to walk all day, possibly more. Then the truck lumbered along, and for a while, I rode with another traveler and my thoughts. It is interesting that despite the seeming randomness of today, I still wound up in Cedar. Exactly where my thoughts were leading me, apparently. To stay or go? I consider what I should do. I shoulder my pack. I shut the heavy door of the big red machine as I recalled the layout of the little town quietly waiting before me. As I tried to decide what to do, I began walking along the single main road through Cedar. The trees are thick here, providing ample shade interspersed with patches of waning sunlight. I pass the general store on the right. I need to make a choice. I look up and see the path to the banks that overlooks the sunrise. It hits me. Did I ever really have a choice today? My path was leading me back to Cedar one way or another. The road, the truck, my thoughts. All of it led to Cedar. I veer left, cross the road, and step up onto the old wooden stairs to the hearth and home. The steps have a reassuring organic feel to them, oddly rustic and welcoming. I can feel warmth radiating from the sun-soaked bricks. I think I'm going to give this a shot. It is almost as though fate led me here, and on some instinctive level, I get the feeling that I was heading here all along. My hand closes around the old wrought iron door handle as the sound of the truck's engine passes by, followed by the bellow of an air horn. As the trucker continues on his path, the surrounding forest rolls at the rear of the engine, and as suddenly as they were there, they are gone. There's a magic to this place. I open the door and step into the cool darkness. The fading light from outside momentarily illuminates the room, and the bartender looks up to greet his first customer of the day. My eyes take a second to adjust, but there is no doubt, this place really hasn't changed. The present and the past crash together and are surprisingly nearly indistinguishable. The bartender is a bit of an exception though. His hair is grey and his face has more lines than when we last met. He sets a glass down behind the old, polished dark wood bar, and there is a look of growing recognition in his eyes. But that same look is clouded by doubt. Afternoon, where can I get you? A beer be fine, thank you. You got it. The bartender smoothly and deftly fills the glass and sets it down in front of me on a plain white napkin, making brief eye contact that somehow conveys the notion that he has decided upon something. So, just passing through again? I look up from my beer and look at him. There's a small smile and a knowing look in his eyes. His memory is excellent. What do I say? I was thinking that maybe this time, I'll stay a bit longer. This time. The weather's nicer, that's for sure. You know, I never forget a face. Then again, normally those faces age a little in 20 years. How are you? It's a long story. I believe that. And I've counted every day since that winter night. Why have you returned? Surely you wouldn't have come back here after two entire decades just to have a drink here at my bar. I'm not entirely sure, to tell you the truth. A gentle silence fills the air between us as he hands me the beer, and I take a sip, clearing my throat. I'm not sure if you'll be able to help me, but I have a favor to ask. Shoot. Last time I happened my way into this bar, do you remember the charming girl in green? Her voice was enchanting, one of a kind really. Whatever happened to her? Emily? Well, luck would have it, she still lives here in Cedar, actually. She still comes to help out from time to time here, at this dusty old place. My eyes light up at this very, very good news. She's still here, even after all this time? I can hardly believe it. Yeah, she lives just down the road with her husband and young boy. I feel crushed. I'm not sure what I was expecting, really, but it hurts nevertheless. The bartender must have caught on as he continues. Does this change anything? I assume you have something in mind. Well, it should. It doesn't really. I'm not entirely sure what I would have done anyhow. Would it be wrong of me to ask for an address? While I would give it to you regardless, it's not necessary. She comes by every morning with her son to help set up for the day. You should come again tomorrow, as I assume you're planning to stay for a while? Yeah, I'll be here. Thanks really. It means a lot. Don't mention it. Anything for an old friend. With that, I sip my beer and think of the coming events. The fear that she won't recognize me once again crosses my mind. But I push it off in search of a bed to lay my head. And with that, I'm going to end the episode here because I don't have very much more time to get this one edited and hopefully uploaded in time for me to leave for work. So thank you all so much for watching. If you liked it, give it a like, friends, some love. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye. Why do I always, I'm about to close the game before I save it. Now I'm gonna save there, right there.